Consider for a moment the phrase I am. It is at once simple and profoundly complex, an utterance that transcends language, culture, and time. In those two words lies a declaration, a command so fundamental that it sits at the very heart of existence itself. To say I am is to step into the space of presence, a place before thought, before definition, a realm where being and awareness converge. Existence does not unfold randomly, it is anchored to awareness, to the recognition of self. I am is the sovereign announcement of this awareness, the primal command line from which all else emerges. You might think of it as the initial spark, the quiet ignition that shifts potential into reality. It is not merely a phrase, but a fundamental law, the essence from which identity flows and through which reality is framed. When one speaks or even silently acknowledges I am, one is seen not just as a person identifying themselves, but more deeply as consciousness asserting its own reality. This moment of self-assertion bypasses the narratives constructed around us, our names, roles, and stories, and touches the root of being. It whispers of a truth that is not contingent on circumstance but inherent and self-existent. To understand I am as merely a grammatical construction misses the depth embedded within. It is more akin to a code embedded in the fabric of reality, simple yet infinitely potent. Its power lies in its directness, bypassing the layers of abstraction and inaugurating a reality that is immediate and undeniable. Each time you affirm I am, there is an echo in the vastness of existence that reflects this self-recognition. Now consider the human experience as a tapestry woven from countless threads of identity. There are roles to play, labels to accept or reject, memories that shape thought, and emotions that color perception. Yet beneath all these layers, there is a silent core, the I am, that does not change. It is the still point amidst the flow, the anchor before all the tides of experience rise and fall. There is a quiet authority in realizing this. When the noise of external definitions fades, what remains is not emptiness, but that affirmation. I am. From this vantage point, the self is not a fixed narrative, but an unfolding presence, a dynamic principle that shapes and creates its own reality moment by moment. Pause here for a breath. Imagine that your sense of self is not confined to the roles or the stories you live by, but is a direct experience of being itself. How would this shift the way you interact with the world? What if the foundation of your existence is this unshakable I am, independent of circumstance, beyond appearance? Exploring the deeper implications, the phrase I am can be seen as the starting point of creative power. To claim I am is to acknowledge that you exist as a conscious agent capable of shaping experience. It reveals an intimate relationship between awareness and manifestation, where identity is not a passive state but an active force. In contemplating this, one might recall the subtle paradox that identity both anchors and liberates. It anchors us by providing a point of reference, a center from which awareness radiates. Yet it is also liberating because it transcends the limitations imposed by time, space, and change. I am is simultaneously the root and the horizon of being. The philosophical resonance of this cannot be overstated. To recognize I am as the fundamental law of identity is to see reality through a lens that is neither entirely objective nor purely subjective, but something more integrated. It invites a perspective where existence is understood as a dialogue between consciousness and form, between presence and the unfolding world. In this interplay, the power of I am becomes a reminder that identity is not an external attribute to be acquired, but an intrinsic quality to be realized. It is less about becoming something and more about uncovering what is already present. Reality viewed through this lens is not a fixed stage, but a living expression of self-awareness. Consider then the possibilities that emerge from this understanding. If I am is the command that lays the foundation of existence, how might embracing this shape your encounter with daily life? If identity is the creative principle woven into the very fabric of reality, then every moment offers a chance to consciously inhabit that presence, to recognize the echo of I am within each breath, each step. Yet this is not an easy path, nor does it promise simple answers. The depth of I am reveals the mystery of being, a mystery that resists full capture or explanation. It invites patience, the willingness to dwell in uncertainty and to trust the silent authority that speaks in the quiet moments of self-recognition. And there in those moments, the vastness of existence seems to fold back upon itself, not as an enigma to solve, but as an experience to inhabit. The phrase I am becomes a portal, a threshold through which one moves beyond the confines of fragmented identity into the wholeness of presence. What remains is an open question, posed not in expectation of conclusion, but as an ongoing invitation. What does it truly mean to be? Beyond thought, beyond narrative, what is the quiet presence that simply is? The power of I am lies not in providing answers, but in awakening the wonder of the question itself.